You're listening to the Business Mike podcast. Amazing interviews with entrepreneurs and industry thought leaders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Mike podcast. And joining me today is Pauline. Pauline, can you let the viewers and listeners know a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. And it's a great honor and pleasure to join you in this podcast and also to join other professionals as we look into the entire business landscape and the things that, help us grow in business excellence. So yes, my name is Pauline Kariuki. I am a customer service professional. I am a trainer. I am a consultant, and I am also a coach. And I run an organization known as Corporate Solutions Consultancy, and we help businesses, grow in their revenues and profitability through empowering and capacity building their staff in the areas of organizational development, and customer experience is one of the aspects of organizational development. We also coach. We coach individuals, and we also coach leaders in the area of leadership, and also in the area of personal and professional growth. We also consult for businesses in the area of strategy, in the area of customer service audit, customer service strategy, whether you want to revamp an already existing strategy or to develop a new strategy. Yeah, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
All right. Thank you so much, Pauline. A question I often ask all my guests is how they ended up in the customer experience field. Very many of us start in one area and we somehow find ourselves in CX. So what was that like for you? How did you find your way to customer experience?
Very interesting. For me, I would say that customer experience perhaps is something that is inherent. I love working with people. One of my values is, people development, building capacity in people, helping people be better as professionals and also in their private lives. So how did I get into this space? My natural flow of energy is about helping people in developing the business landscape. I want people to be better in the area of business. And so when I was growing up, maybe I can relate this to where it all started. I used to go with my parents to the bank, and I would really admire how things were being done at the bank. The way you are received and you're directed. This is a counter you go to. This is what you need to. And that somehow created and formed my interest. But I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that was customer experience, that was customer service. So as I progressed on into the professional field, I started getting, my first job was client facing. I got a job in an NGO, a non-governmental organization, a local one here in Nairobi, Kenya. And I was helping in the area of project administration. And what that meant is that I was dealing with all the stakeholders and building the relationship with all the stakeholders. It was more, I would relate that to a client-facing job, which I did for a couple of years. And then I progressed from there and I went to the bank. And when I went to the bank, I started off as a client-facing staff. So I continued on with where I had started, and I grew through that space. When I got to the bank, I actually started from the front desk. Then I grew through the ranks, and finally I was the senior associate in customer experience for the entire bank. And it's from that I realized indeed, this is perhaps what I was made to do, just working around. I love experiences. I love helping people enjoy the experiences in whatever space where they are at, whether it is the customers, whether it's even outside the workspace, wherever I am at. And that's how I found myself in that space, which I really enjoy. I know the place of experience, the place of customer service, and the place of what that experience fuels in the business space.
Right. Thank you so much for that overview of how you ended up in the space. And more often than not, that's how we end up there. We work in a particular organization and get in touch with this space. And once we fall in love with it by understanding it intricately and also how it contributes to the bottom line, then we don't look back. I wanted to ask you about Kenya. You're in Kenya right now. So what does the customer experience landscape look like there? How mature is your area in terms of focusing on customer experience and expectations from customers in general?
All right, very good question, Daudi. I think things are changing here in Kenya. I have seen a lot of growth. I have seen a lot of progression in the area of customer service. And what do I mean by this? Some time back, customer experience of customer, actually, we're calling it customer service. That is what we commonly, or customer care, that is what was commonly known. But progress coming in and understanding how the customers have evolved, because, globally, the customer has evolved, and they have evolved in many ways. There's a place of technology, so customers are more aware of what their expectations are from any business. Customers now have multiple channels of communicating with businesses. So there's a lot of awareness when it comes to the understanding of the customer, and they are placing the same awareness into the businesses. And so that's why we are saying the customer today has evolved. They are expecting that you will be able to understand their needs. And so what I've seen here in Kenya is that across all industries, there's a lot of change in the way that businesses are running customer experience. And there's the adoption of technology, innovation and technology. There's now the emphasis of, how do we get in touch with our customers on a one-on-one. I've seen the place of empathy coming in with how you deal with your customers. I have seen a lot of, conversations happening around that space on trying to put the customer at the core of the business. And that's when we are talking about customer-centric way of doing business and organization centricity. And that is where organizations now are going back to the drawing board and asking themselves, wait a minute, how do we become customer-centric as an organization? And it is now looking from in out. So the perspective now has changed to employee experience. How do we grow employee experience so that it helps to fuel the customer centricity for the entire organization? So a lot of conversations are happening here in Nairobi. We have a very strong association of customer experience in Kenya, which is also in the forefront of enhancing this conversation about customer service. We have seen a lot of businesses now embracing the role of customer experience in their business as a strategy, and not only as a department or as a role of some group within the organization, but as a whole strategy that fits into the bigger strategic plan for the organizations.
Right. Yeah, sure. From what you mentioned there, I was going to ask you what are the common shortcomings of businesses in as far as customer experience is concerned. And you've mentioned one of them, which I think cuts across everywhere in the world, where there's this mindset that customer experience is a department. It's a number you call. It's the person who sits at the front, and not necessarily appreciating that it's something that cuts across the entire organization. It's not a thing. It's what you do. It's not necessarily a department. And that's a very good point that you noted there. And through your consultancy, for instance, for organizations that call themselves customer-centric, or those that think they are doing customer experience, what tends to be the shortcoming in their ability to deliver customer experience? What are some of the things they tend to overlook, or where do they often go wrong?
All right. Very interesting. I think from experience, what I have seen is a lot of businesses sometimes, and I want to focus first on what I have mentioned previously about looking at it as a separate unit from the rest of the business. And that creates the aspect of organizational silos. And sometimes what I have seen with the businesses that I've worked with, and probably also from my work experience, is that when businesses operate in silos, and silos can be many. It can be departmental silos, whereby different organizations are sitting in with their own things within that department. It can also be a level, like, let me use the word a level, or this vertical kind of a silo, whereby if you're in this level, in mid-level, you're in the lower level, in the upper level, you sit again with that kind of information in that. And there's no collaboration between the different departments and sectors in the organization, whether it's a small business, whether it's a medium size, whether it's a large corporation, One of the challenges is that organizational silos. And what that means is that even as you're putting in efforts as a customer service department, if it does not spread across and the organization is speaking in one language, then it becomes a bit challenging for the organization to achieve the centricity they want to achieve. Because when you're looking at customer centricity, what really are we looking at? It is where we are saying all of us, from top, bottom, or bottom up, we are all speaking in one language when it comes to how we are dealing with our customers. So the product knowledge is, we are all at the same level in terms of understanding our product and services knowledge. You find that in some organization, the awareness and the knowledge about the products and the services only sits with maybe the marketing team, the production team, and maybe, research team. But there are other departments within the organization. Again, it varies with the dynamics of the size, the industry and all that. So that helps us to understand the different departments in the organization. But we find that when it comes again to the product knowledge, is only a few people or a few departments that really understand what products and services. If it comes to the leadership aspect, maybe from a leadership perspective, you understand the strategy, you understand where you're going, and customer focus is in that strategy. But is it understood by everyone in the organization? You may find in some organization that has not been understood very well by everybody in the organization. And I think another challenge is the aspect of training and employees understanding what really it means to be customer-centric. So you may put in a lot of resources in terms of marketing campaigns, in terms of enhancing the products and services that we have, but if the employees are not well equipped with the knowledge, with the skills, with the capacity to understand that all these initiatives need to tie with the need of the customer, then it becomes a problem. I think I've also experienced another challenge of data, whereby we have data coming into the organization. We are collecting feedback. We are doing all the surveys that we are doing using different tools. We collect this data. It comes into the organization, but it sits somewhere. It is not used to make informed decisions that will help enhance the customer centricity in the organization. So I think these are some of the challenges that I have seen across with the different organizations I've worked with across the industries.
Right. I like what you mentioned there about the data. I think that's a common one. Actually, one of the guests that I had on, our discussion was about the reason why customers no longer respond to surveys. It's because they share this feedback and nobody is bothered to respond to the feedback. They complain about something and it's not worked on. And then 3 months later, they asked about the very same thing. So the customers lose confidence in the organization. But then coming to what you had mentioned about these different components coinciding and working together to deliver the best experience for a customer, it comes down to a change in mindset for the organization. Maybe they're used to doing something a certain way, and now they're being enlightened on how to do it in a different way that is customer-centric. But sometimes that is met with backlash in as far as the culture is concerned, because there could be a convenient way of working for certain people, and now this customer-centric way is inconveniencing, or whatever it might be within the organization that clashes with the culture at the moment. So what are some of the ways in which you overcome this cultural resistance to change in as far as customer centricity is concerned?
All right. I like what you say that mindset plays a very big role. Yes, it's true, because for all of us, naturally as human beings, when there's a change being made in any area of our lives, sometimes there's a bit of resistance because of the mindset. We sort of operate natural way, is a comfort, is a fixed mindset. This is the way we do things. This is how we have always done things. So when we are trying to introduce in a new way of doing things, not everybody will embrace that in a positive way. Even though it is going to impact the organization in a positive way, not everybody will embrace that change in the beginning. And so to the aspect of how do we help ourselves and in our businesses to be able to adopt that change, I think it is first understanding that change is difficult for most of us. We acknowledge that. However, it is necessary. It is necessary because it helps us grow as individuals, and it also helps us as professionals. It helps us grow as an entire organization. So one of the ways is looking at it from starting inward and going outward. And what do I mean by this? Now, communicating this to our employees, taking them through the process of change. Why is it important for us as a business to be customer-centric? Now, when we begin with it from the employee perspective and then we channel it out to the customer, it becomes easier. Like we say, I think there's a common phrase that we say, happy employees equal happy customer. And a happy customer equal a happy shareholder and a successful business. It's a loop that goes in that way. So one of the things is equipping these employees with the skills, the place of employee training. I had mentioned about it earlier on, because once we get in the buy-in from the employees, they will be the champions of bringing this change in the organization. And how do we do it? Even from getting in the buy-in from our employees. And that is what influences this organizational culture that we are talking about. And first acknowledging that the organizational culture is like the DNA of the organization. And when all of us understand what is the DNA of this organization that we are working with, and then we bring ourselves into this space of, being in the same wavelength of our DNA as an organization, then it becomes easier. So how do we bring our employees into this space of being, embracing this DNA of customer centricity? Again, tying that to the bottom line, breaking it down, fragmenting it into a way that an employee will be able to understand that when we give good service, when service is excellent, then what does that mean? It helps us in maybe 2 or 3 ways. One, we are able to grow our revenues. How do we grow our revenues? Our revenues will grow because we'll be able to acquire more customers. Now, once you're able to acquire more customers, when we give good service, we're able to retain these customers. Once we are able to retain these customers, we are building trust with them. And when we build trust, we retain. When we are able to retain, and we've already built the trust, then what do? We are able to get loyal customers. With our loyal customers, they become the brand ambassadors. So the employee becomes a brand ambassador, and also the customer becomes the brand ambassador. And that is what will tie to our bottom line, and our revenues will grow. When revenues grow, it is for the benefit of all of us in the organization, because all of us will grow. More money will come to the shareholders' pocket, more money will come into our pocket. We will grow even from a knowledge perspective. It is like a whole 360 growth for everyone. Another aspect is, when you're able to reduce on our marketing cost, our marketing maybe budgets, because we've already been able to acquire more customer, retain, and they're our brand ambassadors, then we can be able to use those resources to do more, maybe to build on our data analytics. We can be able to build on our research and development, be able to grow in other areas of our business. So we are growing in revenue and reducing our costs, which at the end of the day is a benefit for all of us. So breaking it down to our employees and helping them understand, and progressively acquiring this growth mindset for all of us within the organization will go a long way in enhancing the customer centricity and the organizational culture within our businesses.
Thank you, Pauline. I like that point you made about the employees understanding what it is that they're doing in the point of view of being customer-centric. And it reminds me of an example of 3 workers, all of whom had stones. And the first worker was asked, "What are you doing?" And he said, I'm breaking stones. And the worker next to him doing the same thing was asked, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm building a wall." And then the third one asked, also doing the same thing, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a cathedral." So all of them were doing the same exact task, but their understanding and appreciation of their input was different. And I think, borrowing that analogy, when we look at the customer centricity and the degree to which we can explain that to our customers, our employees, they are able to deliver their roles more efficiently when they understand the big picture. Just before we end the interview, I wanted to find out from you, on your journey so far, what lessons have you learned about CX, something new that you've learned, or a key lesson that maybe people that are viewing and listening can learn from?
Thank you, Daudi. I think one of the things that I have learned is that customer experience is the new marketing. Why do I say is the new marketing? Because once we are able to, once from a customer experience perspective, once we are able to acquire, retain, and make our customers the brand ambassadors, then it becomes very easy for us to grow in our businesses, because these are the people who are speaking when we are not even there. They're the people who are, carrying our flag up, even when we are not there as a business owners. And over time, I have seen the value in that. Is it a new thing? Maybe yes, maybe not. But for me, from where I come from, or where I am at as a professional, as an expert, customer experience is a must-have. Customer centricity is a must-have for all business, and it's a must-do for all of us, because I believe, like I said before, is the new marketing. for all the businesses. Of course, it has to tie up with other elements within the business. It can't be a standalone. It has to tie in with other aspects of the business, but it plays a big role even at the bottom line, from even an ROI perspective. It plays in a very big role. So yes, I think that has been my biggest lesson within this journey as a professional in the area of customer experience.
Right. And the final question, of course, is what parting shot or advice would you give to any organization that is on the beginning journey with customer experience, or perhaps they've started their journey but just need a little bit more encouragement in as far as CX is concerned?
All right. For me, I would say that CX is a critical and core component of any business, regardless of the size of the business. Whether you are a small trader, whether you are a startup, whether you're in the mid-level, whether you are a mature business, customer experience is very key and very important, because we are in business because of our customers. We say try doing without a customer for a week and see what happens to the business. And so therefore, embracing and understanding the place of the customer, that they are the core of the business, that they are, I like a saying, I think by Sam Walton, that says that the customer is the boss. He can fire anyone from the chairman or the way down. And I want to say the customer and the employees are the boss, because it has to work hand in hand on both of them. So let's, as a business, whether you're starting or you're already mature, let's embrace and learn how to take care of our customers. Let's be empathetic with our customers as we deal with them. Let's have the need of the customer, because it's from serving the needs of the customers that we are able to grow in our businesses. Let's also be in a place where we are creating a collaborative process with our customers, because once we create that partnership, once we create that collaboration with our customers, then we shall be able to serve them from a point of their need. If you maybe a business does not have a strategy doesn't have to be a whole big document about the customer. It's just understanding the customer journey, learning what does our customer need, where do we find our customers. Let's offer what our customer wants, and understand. We can only be able to do that by understanding our customer journey and mapping it within the needs of our customers. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a big business. Understand what is your core business, understand the demographics of your customers, and you'll be able to have a good relationship, a profitable relationship and a good partnership with our customers. Thank you, David.
All right, that brings us to the end of the interview, Pauline. I can't thank you enough for all your insights and valuable knowledge that you've shared with us. But before we let you go, why don't you let us know how we can connect with you, find you online, and learn more about what you do.
All right. On LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn as Pauline Karaoke. You can also connect with me on Instagram as Pauline Modoni, the trainer. If you're in Nairobi, you can find me. My office is along Thika Road in Nairobi. You can also get me through email. My email is info@corporatesolutions.ke.com. And you can also visit our website, corporatesolutionske.com.
Right. Well, that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you once again, Pauline, and we wish you the very best. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you in the near future.
Thank you. I look forward to having more engagements, and let's all speak about the place of customer and the place of customer experience in our businesses. It was a pleasure being in this show with you, Daudi. Thank you very much.